Hey everyone, it's Mellisa, as you already probably know, and my good friend Lois, all the way from New Zealand. Hello! And we talk every week, and we have such great conversations that are so rich about our business. So we figured today we were just going to hit record and share, because we do this every week anyway. And I have a really big hunch that a lot of the information that you have to share has great, and my list would probably have great interest in that. And you have said vice versa. And so let's dive into some cool stuff that we can share with each other's tribe, because why not benefit from every angle?
That's a cool idea. And because in the process of having a conversation, we come up with a lot of stuff, right? And it's not rocket science, but it's through conversation that we learn, I think, and through hearing different people's perspectives. And sometimes we might say something that will resonate with one person, and somebody else will say something that resonates with somebody else. And so through having a conversation, two people, we can hopefully resonate with more people.
Totally. So this is going to be fun. Why don't you say like a brief about what you do for my tribe, and then I'll do the same thing for yours.
Okay. Well, I'm Lois McCullough, and I'm a life transitions coach and mentor. You might know by my funny accent that I'm not American, so I'm based in New Zealand. I'm a Kiwi, and I use the wonderful thing called technology to reach around the globe. So what is a life transitions coach and mentor? So basically, if you imagine yourself, if you think about losing something that you love dearly, so that could be anything. It might be a person. So it might be a person through death. It might be through a relationship breakup or divorce. It might be, empty nest syndrome. So a lot of women who are at that stage in their life where their kids leave home and then they go, well, now what? I've got this big void in my life. It could just be that, you've lost your job, you lost all your money, you might have just lost yourself. So, so whatever meant a lot to you and you've lost it, and you go through that real sense of, now what? I'm in this big hole. What for the rest of my life? That's who I help. And because life is such a wonderful, wonderful journey, and we have a lot of it to live. And I think it's sad when we get stuck in that place of helplessness, and we want to make the most of the rest of our life. So that's what I do.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And for me, we always connect on this level of healing, because I am a natural healer. I created a healing process called renaturing, and it really brings people back to the gifts that they're being given on a day-to-day basis. So that reconnection with life force, as Lois said, why not live every single day of your life? Why put this on the back burner? Like, you've got one life, which sometimes lately has sounded a lot like cliche, right? You have one life. What if you have 30 seconds? What if you have like 30 minutes? Like, what would you freaking do? You know what I mean?
Exactly. And because you never know, tomorrow or in an hour's time, you might be taken out, sadly.
Or you might get noticed that somebody truly, oh my God, truly incredible in your life will be taken out, or has been, and you didn't have a chance to say what you wanted to say to them. And so for me, I've had these experiences in my life that have brought me to what I call my edge, that I've dropped to my knees and questioned life, because I was so trapped in this resistance of maybe not wanting to show somebody who I truly am, or maybe not wanting to let myself be fully self-expressed or fully authentic, because I was afraid of what people would think of me, or afraid of really myself. I mean, bottom line, we're afraid of something. And so it brings us to this place of realizing, and both you and I in our stories have now realized the urgency of every single day. the urgency of get up and live every single day. And so we just wanted to share, of course, with all of you, how amazing this collaboration has been, just connecting on a fully real, fully raw, way every single week.
And that's the thing, it's a connection. And you're in America, I'm in New Zealand, we're at the opposite ends of the earth, but that doesn't mean we never have to be alone. We never have to be alone on any journey, no matter where you're at. I think support and communication, particularly for women, I love this. They say that women need to speak 40,000 words a day.
I didn't hear that. I've never heard that.
then you need to find someone you can talk to. And it really helps. We're different ages.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you'd be able to tell. We have this conversation. I'm twice the age of Mellisa. But it doesn't matter because...
No. It's funny? We just found that out too.
I know.
Like just right before we hit record, you're like, how old are you?
I'm you in 26 years' time.
Totally. That's so cool.
Anyway, hey, so we should talk about some stuff that the people listening in will want to hear.
Yeah, totally. So, and I think truly, because I help people heal from the root cause, physical issues that they might be having, pain in their body, chronic illness, something that might be holding them back from living their true potential. And you and I have this similar fashion of healing, but what I really think my tribe would appreciate hearing from you is that emotional piece of when you were at your rock bottom to when you're now, because as we know, pain doesn't leave us feeling glittery and like excited about life. It gives us this really interesting feeling and expression of ourselves that oftentimes hinders our full life experience. And so from the emotional standpoint, what was it like for you? And tell them a little bit about what the basic point of the story for you is too, of losing a loved one.
Yeah.
What was it like for you at rock bottom? And then what was that like transition point?
Yeah. Okay. So for the people in your audience that don't know my story, my people do, but yours won't. So I'm a widow. Okay. I'm a young widow, and my husband died of cancer 8 years ago, and I'm a single parent. So I've got 2 teenage boys, but they were young when their dad died. So they were only 5 and 8 when their dad died. 3 and 6 when he got sick. So rock bottom for me, well, first of all, it was dealing with that bad news that we got first of all, and that like, oh my goodness, what does the future hold? And I guess there'll be some people in your audience that have bad news, diagnoses that they're wanting to heal from, and you're in that black cloud of it's just a hopeless case. And so I guess rock bottom in that stage of my journey was putting my head in the sand. If I just ignore the whole thing, it'll go away. But of course it didn't go away, so that wasn't very helpful. Yeah. And it really is like a roller coaster ride. And I know once he passed, then it was, and people often explain the journey post loss like a roller coaster ride. You're being thrown around. Your emotions are here and there and everywhere. They're up one minute and they're down the next. And I know the first couple of years, it very much was that down, and then resigned to the fact, well, this is life now, what? And then, moments of feeling a bit of hope. Well, this is okay, I'm all right. And then down again, and then jealous of other people, and because why didn't they lose their husband? How come they've got a husband? How come their children have got fathers, and it's not fair? And that whole, and then And then going, well, it's okay, you know, think gratitude, oh, I've got to be grateful for the things that I do have. And so you come up again and you think, oh, well, life's not so bad. And then you're down and down again. So I don't think there was one moment of hitting rock bottom. I think you kind of hit it a few times. You know, you bottom out and then you come up and then you bottom out again. And I don't think that ever ends our whole life. There are moments of down and up and plateauing. And so I guess the key for me is being able to be more often than not in a positive place. You know, sometimes feeling a bit down or sad or angry or whatever, but then we need to feel our emotions, right? If we want to feel really happy, then it's like saying, you know, you can't know hot unless you know cold. You know, you've got to know the opposites of everything. You can't know happy unless you know sad. And so you will feel sad, you will feel happy. And just know that whatever you're feeling is okay at the time. You know, yes, sometimes you will be worried. Yes, sometimes you will be jealous of other people. Yes, sometimes you will be guilty because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing and you're not the perfect mother because you're grumpy today, you know. Or you're having a bit of chocolate cake when you know you're supposed to be on a, you know, healthy diet or whatever. Who cares? You know, so long as tomorrow you have another go. You know,
and this is so fascinating for me too, because as I'm listening to you, I'm hearing so much of the, you know, the trial and error and all the things that you went through. And also I'm hearing how present this made you, how present to your life this made you. And what I really want to hear, and I think what my audience would want to hear, is what was the defining moment that was like, put on the brakes and realize, oh my God, like this is my life. And I get to choose what that's all about.
Yeah, I can't put my finger on an actual moment. But it has definitely been the last couple of years being more and more mindful of how I'm thinking and what I want, because, you know, once Struan passed and then I had the whole, now what, who am I, what does this mean for the rest of my life? You know, I was only 40, I can't remember, I was only 43 when he died, right? So I was only fairly young. And I've got a lot of life to live. But before he died, I was a wife. You know, before we had kids, I was a corporate girl, and but I wasn't that anymore. You know, I was no longer the wife. I was no longer the corporate girl. I was a mother. We made the decision for me to be a stay-at-home mum. Now it was like, well, who the hell am I? What am I going to do now? So I think that was kind of the defining moment for me, really thinking, well, okay, I've got a lot of years coming up. I've got to do something. What am I going to do? Who am I? And I think, then who am I? What am I going to do? Where are my strengths? And just an inner knowing of, well, I know that I want to share this stuff. I know I want to share. I want to help other people. But through that process, it's been a growing over the last few years. And the more I get to know me, the more I realise that it is all about me. It is all about each of us. You know, and when we understand that there is nobody that can help us except us, you know, we learn from other people, we're inspired by other people, we associate with other people, but at the end of the day, we're the only ones that can do what we need to do. And it's funny because I used to say this, I can't remember where I heard it. Years ago, someone said, or I read it somewhere, and they said, you know, you're born alone and you die alone. And I thought that was a funny thing to say. And when I've shared it with other people, they've said, yeah, but that's not true, because you're not born alone. You've got your parents, you know, and you're never alone because you've got doctors and nurses and parents and stuff. And so I've really analysed that over the years. And when Struan was diagnosed, when he was terminal, like in the last sort of couple of weeks before he died, that's when it hit home for me. And probably, okay, here's the answer to your question. That's when it hit home to me.
Yeah.
When I realised with you're born alone and you die alone, up until that point, he had us supporting him. He had the medical profession doing everything like surgery and chemotherapy and everything that was needed, he had.
Mm-hmm.
We were with him 24 hours a day. He wanted for nothing. But at the end of the day, we couldn't save him. There was nothing we could do to save him. It was his body that decided ultimately that it was time to go. So he was alone. When he took his last breath, nobody, even as hard as he struggled, in his mind, no one, it was up to him. He was alone in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's when it hit home for me. If I want to do something, I need to do it. If we want to change, we need to do it. If we want to heal ourselves, we need to do what we need to do. To eat the right foods, to pursue the right attitudes, the right whatevers,
Yep. I totally agree. Yeah.
If it's to be, it's up to me,
Yeah, and that level of self-responsibility is sometimes daunting because we're like, wait, it's all about me? Wait, it's all...
I know!
I have to make this decision?
I just want a magic wand and someone tell me what to do and I'll do it and it'll happen, It's like...
Oh, yeah.
And that is the toughest thing. Because it's like, it's uncomfortable sometimes and we've got to do stuff we don't want to do and it's scary and it's like, it's easy just to sit on our ass and do nothing and then moan and then we've got an excuse to moan about how bad our life is. It's up to me,
And so that level of self-responsibility that you now teach your clients, your clientele, and all the people that you come across, that you get to, that are graced by your presence, they feel that from you because you don't sit around and do nothing. Like you're out with your kids or you're out with, your friends, or you're doing something for yourself that you just truly enjoy.
I had an elderly godmother who used to say to me, about her life, she'd say, well, there's no point in moaning because who cares anyway? You just got to get on with doing what you want to do because what's the point in moaning about it? Well, just do. It's like,
totally.
Okay, shit happens. It does, honestly, and it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
So you have two choices to make. You either accept it or you don't. If you don't want to accept it, then you got to do something about it, don't you?
Oh, totally. It's funny that you say that. You have two choices. I say that often to myself, but also to my clients, is you have two choices: roll with it or freak the fuck out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes you choose the freak out moment.
There's moments of freak out. Yeah.
Totally. And that's totally valid and okay and all of these things. And what I appreciate about, what you're saying and the work that you do is that you don't force your people to stop freaking out or stop feeling what they're feeling or stop. Feel it and explore it and relate to it and talk about it and be a part of your experience. And so what I love and why I wanted to share you with my people and vice versa and all of that is because I really think that, well, first of all, everyone has an experience of loss in their life. Everyone. And if you haven't, you will. And it's not to be threatening or, disconsiderate or anything like that. It's more like looking at life differently, and you get to show people how to look at life differently through the lens of your story. And so I just super appreciate you sharing all of that.
Because at the end of the day, I mean, we're human, right? And we want to be human, and part of being human is feeling. Because if we don't feel, then we're just a fish.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to feel.
Yes.
But then I think what we try, we don't like feeling uncomfortable. We don't like feeling, I mean, I don't want to be sad. I don't want to be angry.
Yeah.
So what we tend to do is we shove it in a box and we put the lid on and we ignore it. But then what happens? At some stage, months, years down the track, it comes back and bites us in the butt, right? And it's like shoving stuff into a pot. Eventually, the pot's going to boil and it's just going to make a hell of a mess all over your roof.
That's funny.
Yeah. So we've got to live with it. We've got to be comfortable with it. But we don't want to be controlled by it. And that is the key, I think, is we need to be the ones in control of where we're at. Good bits and bad bits. Ultimately, it's back to us, right? That's what I teach, and that's the ultimate, right? To be in control of your life, no matter what your life is.
Yeah, I totally.
So now, Mellisa, I want to ask you a couple of questions because there's some things that you can share with my people that I know would be really, really helpful. And so we're talking about our emotional life, right?
Yeah.
So when we're trying to heal emotionally, why is it so important to actually look at our physical? So we're talking about our emotional and our heart and our soul, right? Why is it so important to therefore look after our physical well-being? Why can't we just eat chocolate and ice cream and drink ourselves into happiness? Why do we need to look after our physical body to heal emotionally?
It's so interesting. I have so many different segues that I could go on. The first thing I want to say is, it doesn't matter what you're eating. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. It's the energetics behind it. And so you and I could both be eating a bowl of ice cream right now, or me and this other fake person over here, and I could be eating, and it would be as if we were eating two different things. I'm eating life force, joy, peace, and abundance, and this person's eating guilt, shame, despair, and they're eating some other type of emotions. And so that's one point that I want to make, that it's the energy that you bring to the action that creates. Now I have dogs running. Do you see them? Down there. It's the energy that you bring to the present moment that creates your results. So you get whatever you're committed to. You get the results that you have right now are based on, in my opinion, a series of emotions that you are either holding on to or letting run through you. And so I believe it's important to recognize that all the different emotions in our life that we allow ourselves to feel or not have homes in the body, particularly. So in the shoulders versus the knees versus the backs of your eyes and the back of your head versus whatever, your legs. And it's important to heal and take care of yourself physically because, well, I guess it's such an interesting question. It's obvious to most people that they want to be healthy, but the truth is you don't want to just get healthy. Oh, yay, I'm healthy. Yay. Like in 5 years from now, you're like, yay, I was totally healthy. It's like, no, you don't want to just be healthy. You want to be healthy because you want to travel an epic adventure around the world, or, fall in love and, spread your message around the world or whatever. And so to recognize health as how you feel about yourself is a whole different way to look at your health. So obviously, in what I teach in renaturing, you do want to eat differently and take care of your body of health. But it's more about taking care of and taking responsibility of how I feel about my body of health. And that is what will propel you forward, because you could be eating raw food, getting massages every week, going to yoga, meditating every morning, meditating every night, sitting in the corner, namaste, love and light, la 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 la, and using that as medication, and not using that as a tool for your spirit to run through you. And so, yes, I believe in love, and yes, I believe in light, and yes, I believe in meditation and yoga and all of those things I just mentioned. But the way you go about doing those actions, the way you go about your day, or the way you go about feeling about yourself, is what creates the human experience. I really do believe.
The word that comes up for me when you say that is intention.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you doing these things? Why are you eating a raw food diet? Why are you meditating? Why are you doing these things? Yeah.
And so with love as the intention, true love, right? Not like love and light, like because it's love and light and that's why I have to do it because it's love. It's like real, raw, untamed love for yourself. When you can get to that level, and when love is the intention, life forms grow. Life force comes to you immediately and instantly, because it's not something that you're wanting or craving anymore. I want that thing, I want that thing, I want that thing, and you're repelling it, versus I am that thing. I am that thing, and you're attracting it. And so, yeah, you're right. I've actually met and have clients that are been raw food for so long, and have created this healthy lifestyle for themselves, and they're completely constipated in their spirit.
Yeah.
And so they're holding back. And what you call, you said something earlier that resonated with me so much. It was that you put your emotions in a box.
Yes.
I always say a dark storage unit. You put your emotions in a dark storage unit and you shut the door. Well, how easy is it when you open the door to let light in? So easy. But it's dark until you open the door. And so coming to the truth of every matter, coming to the truth of the emotions, is truly what will set you free. The feelings are the healing.
Yeah, and it's a bit like, why you can eat only, lettuce and carrots and never lose weight. So it's not about what you eat, it's about how you're eating it and why you're eating it. And also, why do you stick with a diet if that's what you're wanting to do? Why are you obsessed with being healthy, or is it just that someone said that you should do it, so therefore you're doing it and you're resenting every moment of it?
Or is it you're doing it because you believed, you had some story going on in your head that somebody told you were unhealthy, and you went your entire life to prove them wrong. And so in every moment you're eating healthy, but your intention is to prove that person wrong, that you're not unhealthy. So that you go throughout your life eating healthy, but you're really doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking from experience.
Yeah, which kind of, because the other thing that I was going to ask you, and we've kind of now had this conversation, but I'll see what else comes out of it. Cool. So just eating a healthy diet then is not going to fix all our physical problems, is it?
No.
So what do we need to do first then? If it's not eating healthy, what do we need to start with? If we have a physical problem, what should we start with?
In my opinion, you start with self-identification. So identify the truth, and identify you as the environment, right? You, your body, you're the environment. and you see it as it is and not worse than it is and not better than it is. And oftentimes our minds want to go one way or the other, like, oh, it's not that bad. I just have pain every night in my stomach. It's totally fine. Or, which is looking at it better than it is. Or looking at it worse than it is. Like you're dreading it, and every second you're like, oh, but that pain, I wonder what that is. Maybe it's worse than it is. Maybe I should look it up on Wikipedia and see what my symptoms are. Yeah, and WebMD, and like totally go off the deep end because you're looking up all these symptoms that could relate to any disease. You never know. So self-identifying your truth, looking at yourself as you are and not in any other way. Also, looking at yourself not as if you're broken, because you're not broken. You don't need fixing. And so oftentimes I get a lot of people who come to me and they have a disease or an illness, or they say they do, or they have these symptoms and they're showing up on blood tests and all these things. And they're so determined. They're so defined by that. They're defining themselves as their disease, or they're defining themselves as their whatever. But that's not the truth of you. The truth of you is not that disease. That's just a symptom coming up. It's a symptom. Like weight gain is just a symptom. Some people are, and that's why, oftentimes when people are like, my goal is weight loss, it's hard to make a goal weight loss because that's a symptom of something else, right? And so if we look at the root cause and start by allowing our truth to run through us and see it as it is, not worse than it is, then we can remove what's causing the problem in the first place and not start to, do this, go on this steps 1 to 10 to weight loss and not see any results. Because if you're going steps 1 to 10 to weight loss, that's steps 1 to 10 to your symptom, not steps 1 to 10 for healing the root cause, or whatever steps you want to take. But it's really about identifying first, seeing the truth first, and understanding that if you can take responsibility for the results that you have in your life right now, the symptoms, the abundance, the prosperity, the whatever, or what you think might be lack thereof in your life right now is what you're committed to. And that's such a hard moment to swallow. That's the hardest moment to swallow, perhaps, because you're basically outing yourself and saying, I created this. So the most humbling moment in my healing journey is that I had created, and I say had created because I no longer have this anymore, but I had created an autoimmune disease in my body. And how humbling that is to be like, wow, they didn't give it to me. No one just like forced me to have this. I took that on, and I made that decision back when I made that decision. And if this is confusing, because it can get really confusing where you're like, well, but what are you talking about? Like, I didn't create my autoimmune disease, or I didn't create cancer, or I didn't create whatever. It's very tough because our resistance comes into play, and we're like, oh, but
because we want somebody else to be responsible. We want somebody to blame. We want somebody to fix it. We want yeah. And so
taking responsibility, and making it light. So it's not like taking responsibility and you're the worst person ever because you created this. It's not like that. It's just like, this is what it is.
Isn't it? I mean, life's a game that we're all playing.
And, our body is the most accurate representation of what's going on in our spirit. Mm-hmm. People say, well, how do you access your subconscious mind? How do you access your intuition? How do you access your instinct? You've got the tool right with you. You've got the tool, and that's your body.
And that's a huge conversation in itself.
Yeah, that's a whole nother. I'm sure that's for another week.
Yeah,
that's for another episode of Lois and Mellisa television.
Let's make that. Okay, so everybody tuning in, if you'd like to see episode 2 of Lois and Mellisa television, we might talk about that topic, because I think that's a really cool topic
Yeah.
to cover next, about mindset and intuition, and yeah, cool idea.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Awesome. So it's been so much fun, Mellisa, really is. See how conversations just pull out heaps of information. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
And at least we're further towards our 40,000 words today.
I had somebody interviewing me right before this, so it's it's about that. Yeah. So what I want to be able to make available for my people is access to you. So Lois has provided me a link. I've provided her a link. We're just going to put the links to each of our schedulers below this video or wherever you got the email. So if you're looking for more information about, anything that Lois has mentioned or anything that I've mentioned, definitely go and click those links, because we want to make ourselves available for those people who are just on the brink of that transformation and just feeling like there's something that I'm missing and I'm not sure, and oftentimes right before a big breakthrough, you start to feel like edgy.
Yeah. And, the whole, if it's to be, it's up to me, but sometimes that's scary. And just having someone that you can reach out to, just to take your hand and show you the first step so that you can then carry on the journey by yourself, makes it so much easier. Eh?
Yeah.
And look, we're just people having a conversation.
We're just people. Hey.
Leading extraordinary lives and doing what we do to make life great, and life's a fun game. And that's what we want to help everybody do. Yeah.
Totally.
Awesome.
Totally.
So I guess time to say goodbye for now. Bye. Till next time.